first to market opens up all sorts of avenues. We're bringing in a higher talented, higher moneyed candidate that has the vision to generate wealth through a wide open space where you're almost competing against children in the business standpoint. Because again, first to market, exceptionally fragmented, what we continue to build here at Conserva.
Welcome back to Kim Daily TV. Today we have a special guest for you. He is the founder and president of an outdoor living brand called Conserva Irrigation. His name is Russ Jundt. Russ, welcome to Kim Daily TV.
Kim, thank you so much for having me. What a great pleasure. All the great things to happen here in May of 2022. This is a highlight. Watch definitely a lot of your podcasts, which is cool because it's the up and coming brands. It's those that I feel we compete with in a good way, in the scoreboard type of thing. And you've had some fantastic guests on, some fantastic opportunities, franchise opportunities. And thanks for having us because I think Conserva fits right in.
I think you fit right in as well. And we're going to tell that story today. So why don't we talk a little bit about how Conserva Irrigation got started, and then we'll go from there.
Awesome. Perfect. So flashback 17 years ago, my business partner and I were the very first franchisees ever of Mosquito Squad, actually, right? And so that was our first go towards franchising. Loved it, absolutely loved it. We had an underground utility construction background. We had dabbled with irrigation and sprinkler systems, but being from Minnesota, just could not stand the lack of design, the lack of responsibility for water. And we love water in Minnesota and our trees, right? And so we really were dissatisfied with irrigation, but having then now be in franchising for the first time at Mosquito Squad, we loved it. And I told Tom 4 years later, I said, you know what? We need to buy another franchise. Let's buy an irrigation concept. And we went to the market and guess what? Crickets, nothing. Nobody's ever franchised irrigation. And so I thought, right in that void, there's the perfect opportunity. Why don't we be the first? So did a ton of research, went to the Irrigation Association National Trade Show in November of 2010. Loved what I saw, started to hear about high efficient irrigation practices, smart controllers, all that good stuff. And man, that was the beginning of it. December of 2010, founded the company, right? Flash forward about 8-9 months, got out in the field, started our first operation in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where we only have 4 days of summer, as you probably know. And I was excited. We had a website, only one page static. We had a bunch of yard signs and a whole bunch of shoe leather. 90 days, 305 clients. I knew we were on something. So we finished out that year strong. And then we started to approach outdoor living brands because the parent corporation to Mosquito Squad at the time. And Chris Grand Prix, Scott Zide, Corey Schrader, these guys were thoughtful enough to spend some time with me and say, you're crazy. Nobody else has ever done this, but they created a space called Mosquito Squad, an entire space, not just a company. There never was anything such as private mosquito abatement. And I said, guess what? Let's greenfield this thing. So I went out and built it over the next couple of years. And we had incredible success in the Minneapolis market. From there, we started to test out. I took the route of pilot franchising, right, where you're not collecting fees, not collecting royalties, but I could test all the idiosyncrasies of marketing across the U.S. I could test all the idiosyncrasies within the industry itself. And at that point, it just started, right, they wanted to make for sure I could prove this thing out, that it wasn't just a Russ thing. And so by December of 2016, we had enough data that the unit economics at the franchisee level were profitable enough, that they were inspiring enough that we could get out there and we could franchise it. So I partnered officially with Outdoor Living Brands at that time, June of 2017. We hit the ground running, and here we are just a few years later, right? 4.5 years later or so, we've got 70 franchisees, about 167 licensed territories. And there we go.
Behind every story, there's a greater story, right? That I didn't even know most of that. So literally when you said, okay, so I decided we were going to start an irrigation company, I thought you were kidding. I didn't know you were going to go like, so let's back up to that, because why, you mentioned something about water in Minnesota before, but like, why irrigation? What was it about irrigation that made you say, ooh, there's an opportunity here? especially in Minnesota, where literally you have 4 days of summer.
Exactly. Well, like any concept, right? Home service brands where the there's no lack of professionalism, lack of, it's very, very fragmented. And at that time, being an underground utility construction, we had some smaller equipment too. And our guys were getting chased down saying, hey, can you put in an irrigation system? You look like you can do it. So even way back then in the early 2000s, nobody's picking up the phone. And so that's how we got into irrigation. But I'll tell you what I found in all that research early on that was disturbing is about 1.5 billion, that's with a B, 1.5 billion gallons per day in the US alone is wasted by runoff and a whole bunch of leaks and all that stuff with irrigation systems. It's horrible. 1.5 billion gallons a day. Two things could happen. I thought I could march on every capital step, try to affect change. Oddly enough, I actually do that, not the marching part, but part of some legislative issues, which is fantastic. But at age 53 now, I figured I'll never have an opportunity to live long enough to see that effective change. The other thing is I could build a company ultimately that would dominate the US, North America, and soon global, that would force the change, educate the change across the consumers, whether they want to save money or not, whether they want to save water or not. Guess what? That's the end result that they get by becoming a Conserva Irrigation client. And that's what we do. So we force that change in a positive way.
Excellent. So hence the name Conserva Irrigation. So we're conserving water. So is there a proprietary system to what you do that controls that water?
Yeah. So the
You
system
don't have to
really,
give away your trade secrets, but just
well,
asking.
here it is. Well, we are working on, we have some proprietary equipment. Yes, everybody always asks that, which is important. But more importantly is the protocols, the systems in place, Kim. That's what you're familiar with. What we do is unique in many ways and exceptionally not unique. But what makes us unique is all the things about home services. We answer the phone relatively most of the time. We're nice generally and relatively most of the time. I would say all the time, right? We show up on time relatively most of the time. But you see how low that bar is for home service industries. We do all those exceptionally well, and then we follow through and we do exactly what we say. What's proprietary in nature is our system efficiency score. It's a guide to the consumer that each of our technicians, all the hundreds of technicians, every single home, they go through it step by step, 50 different points, draws it into 3 different buckets for that consumer to make very rational decisions, and decisions based upon if saving water is important, saving money is important, green, lush, healthy landscapes is important, all those good things. So things we must do right now, things that affect design, and then things that affect, of course, the efficiency. And it's a guide, it's a homogenous way that we guide that consumer through education. So consultative selling. And that's how we're able to bring that selling down to the technician level. That's the secret sauce. Not service techs
Right.
at Conserva, we're sales techs. But selling and upselling only to the benefit of the consumer, both in reduction of water usage, increasing of the green, lush, healthy lawns and landscape, reduction of the water bills that they're paying. Make sense?
Absolutely makes sense. And I mean, I have an irrigation system and I wouldn't necessarily think about the water saving part. Well, and then until the first season when I got my water bill after my irrigation system had been running at like max capacity. And I was like, what the heck? I'm not freaking having a golf course out here. Like, turn this stuff back. But I didn't know what I didn't know, And now after a few seasons with my irrigation system, because here in New Hampshire, we have 5 days of summer, but still we don't get to use it too much. But yeah, it's a different thing. So, okay, so I love this story leading up. So, the candidate that's out there listening to this interview right now, so who is your ideal candidate? I mean, are you attracting like your W-2 white collar transition guy, maybe a guy that loves like tinkering with his own lawn on the weekends? Like who's your guy or gal?
Well, it's a very, and Gal, thank you for pointing that out. We have awesome females as franchise owners in this business, which we're so proud of, and they're doing a great job. It's all really 4 different categories. It can be somebody that's from the industry. We call that a conversion, somebody that was in the irrigation space, didn't want to compete with us, needed some help on maybe the business acumen, marketing side, those types of things, but they knew irrigation, and boom, we merged that way. We've had a few of those exceptionally successful. We have others that are, of course, corporate refugees with all sorts of different backgrounds with business acumen and business experience, and we love them as well. We have others that are from the green industry do exceptionally well, right? They have a landscaping company, have tolerated irrigation, but don't understand it over the years. And what a great add-on this would be, or if they do lighting, or if they do decks or patios or any of that type of stuff. And then the other is kind of sort of that second in command. That's the one that's been kind of sort of waiting by the side, right? I want to be a business partner of my irrigation company someday, and that's never going to happen, because if it's Joe's Irrigation and your name's not Joe, they're not bringing you in. So you can step out, and we have very successful franchisees that way. At the end of the day, it's people that desire to have a business system to generate wealth. It's not irrigation. I promise you, if you look at this and you say, this is what I'd like to do, I'd like to go into irrigation, everybody would look at you, Kim, and say, you have a head injury. Okay, because nobody goes into irrigation. That doesn't happen.
Nobody's saying that.
But this is the first time ever, because we're first to market, and that's key. First to market opens up all sorts of avenues. And in doing so, we're bringing in a higher talented, higher moneyed candidate that has the vision to generate wealth through a wide open space where you're ultimately competing against almost competing against children in the business standpoint. Because again, first to market, exceptionally fragmented, and people that are just kind of sort of your chuck in the truck.
Yeah, which means tons of room for scale, guys.
Huge.
That's what it means, right? And as you've heard me say here on Kim Daily TV before, that the wealth in a franchise, the wealth is always created through scale. So it's not going to be one territory or one location of anything. It's the opportunity to come into a market and own the entire market and build something that's multi-million-dollar level-ish, right?
That's exactly
Yes.
it, Kim.
So what I love is that you started in Minnesota. So for those people out there thinking, well, I can't make enough money, in my seasonal market, I guess you can blast that one right away, right from go, right?
I love the fact that seasonality lends itself to actually greater opportunity, because Mother Nature, it's funny how people are, they want what they don't have. So those in the South, I'm in Florida here today, boy, I wish I had a seasonal market, because there's the winterization call to action. I always say this, if you're in the garage door business, or pick any, fill in the blank, if you're in the garage door business and you don't winterize your system before winter, the garage door will break, you can't get out of the house. That's the end of story. Now that'd be a great business. And it is a great business for those in that. But for those that look at it from water, if you do not winterize your system, catastrophic loss to that system. And guess what? You're not irrigating next year. So Mother Nature, every single year, all the way down into Houston, big time, says, we must think about this. Call to action, client acquisition over and over through winterization. And for those that are truly in the 4-season thing, snowbirds, all the greatness associated with that, year-round work, you got it. But both areas are absolutely fantastic, from the very, very north to the very, very south.
And I like I said, I have an irrigation system, and they actually just came out last week and sent me a bill. I didn't even know they were here. I was away traveling, and they were here and opened up my system and made sure everything's working correctly, turned it on for me. And then they'll be back sometime in the fall, and then they'll shut the whole thing down and send me a bill. And that's twice a year. They send me a bill, and I just pay it. I'm happy to pay it,
Right.
because I don't want to take the time to do it. I wouldn't know how to do it correctly. And it's one less thing for me to have to do.
And if you had Conserva, keep in mind, we would have emailed you a confirmation. We would have texted you as we're 20 minutes out from that appointment, and we would have reminded you how awesome your yard looks afterwards. But you got it. That's exactly it.
That's awesome. Well, I'm also a Mosquito Squad customer, and they were also here last week. And that is the difference. I only received the bill to know that the irrigation company was here, but Mosquito Squad I did get a text. I did. And then I got an email asking me to rate and review my tech who was here, but I wasn't here, so I didn't fill it out. And then asking, were you satisfied with your service? There was a door hanger on my front door that had indicated they had been in my yard. So, and I already paid that bill, because I pay it in the beginning of the season.
Exactly. Check the boxes. And that's exactly it. That's what I love about this opportunity, is as being the first franchisee to Mosquito Squad and going through that growth and learning method through that entire thing. What worked, what didn't work, how can we build upon that? So anything and everything they have by way of that and more on steroids is what we continue to build here at Conserva.
It's awesome. And you have incredible, incredible margins in this business, and some people that are reaching multi-million-dollar levels, correct?
Yes, absolutely. It's fun. And every single year, right, we add to the $1 million club. So the special, right, when you get to top line sales, we had an organization first full year last year, right? Crossed that line. Now we're seeing many, many more coming to that. So it's exciting to see them grow so fast. And then now many past the 2.5, getting past the 5 million in top line sales and margins, like you said, to boot, which is what it's all about. The unit economics have to make sense at the franchisee level. That's our goal. That's our purpose. And people ask me that many times in a conversation and interviews. You founded Conserva for conservation. Exactly how you discovered that, to save water. And that really is the second value proposition of why I founded it. The first one, I wanted to create more financially independent business owners that had ever been created in the green industry before, ever. Okay. And to legitimize that type of work. It's all the stuff I grew up doing. I love it. Outdoors, working and interacting with people, working and interacting with nature. It's a blue collar in nature, yet it's white collar as well. And it's just a great eclectic group. And if you had a goosebump camera, you could see my arms right now, because it's just every time I talk about it, it's so near and dear to me. And that's what we won't stop until we create the most number of financially independent business owners through the Conserva model.
Guys, don't you love it? Another franchisor whose heart is in the right place. Kim Daly seems to find all the good ones, don't I? Because they're not all like you, Russ, that is for sure. But this is so inspiring. And everything that you just said, it's so like people, when they come to the idea of owning a business, the first thing they think is like, what do I know? Or what do I think I would be good at owning? Or what am I going to enjoy? And I think that there can be some part of enjoyment in, like Russ said, if you like being outdoors or you tinker in your own garden, like maybe you have a proclivity to an irrigation, franchise. But the vast majority of people that I'm working with that I might think, wow, Conserva's open, I'm showing it. It's not because they told me they were interested in grass, right? It's because they told me they were looking for a home-based business. We didn't say that, right? They're looking for an opportunity to scale so that they can replace their W-2 income. They're looking for an opportunity to be partnered with an incredibly strong franchisor that has history. Even though this is a young franchise, did you guys hear him say what year he started? Russ, what year did you start this company again?
Right. So June of 2017, we started franchising. And here we are, 70 franchisees. We'll finish up the year at about 75 to 78. That puts us at 170, 185 licensed territories, and we're going to hit the clip. And I stated day one when I wrote the first pro forma, 400 licensed territories by the end of 2025. We are exactly on track to do that.
That's awesome. But you started this company way before you turned it into a franchise.
Yeah.
I think you
for
said
sure.
2010.
December of 2010. That's the Chris Grand Prix, Scott Side, Corey Schrader of Outdoor Living Brands model. Every single year, Russ, I'm ready. We're good. No, you're not, grasshopper, right? We got to go through this. You got to prove out this part. Okay, this year I'm ready. No, you're not. Grinding it out. And then after proof of concept at our single location, that's not the Outdoor Living Brands way. We got to prove it out in multiple. I proved it out in 9 separate locations in 3 different or 4 different regions across the U.S. to make for sure that it worked at all the unit economics were strong, profitable, and in the best interest of the franchisee in all scenarios before the box got checked.
Yeah, because nobody wants to be the guinea pig. And for those people out there that have a business that you're considering franchising, listen to what Russ is saying. You can do anything you want to do. But I'm just telling you, as an experienced franchise consultant who has placed probably more people into franchising than any other consultant in 20 years, I'm telling you, nobody wants to be the guy that comes in after you have proof of concept from one territory, right? So Outdoor Living Brands did you a huge favor by saying, no, you're not ready, right? Go show proof of concept in multiple markets, right? Because that's what people are going to want when they're investing their life savings in your dream as a franchisor. They want proof that it works,
Exactly.
right?
That's exactly
And I love,
it.
again, that it works in a seasonal market. And so in a market that has even more months of green grass, you're going to have that many more months to make that much more money.
You got it. And when you
You
talk
have
to
to sign
Kim,
up that many more
you got it.
customers.
And Kim, when you talk to the different franchisees, I'm so proud of them, right? You can pick up the phone, as we all know, look at item 20, pick up the phone, talk to any one of the franchisees, and you can hear the great results, the great enthusiasm. They love this company. And I would venture to guess, if not all, well, not all, but the majority of them would say this. When I looked at Conserva Irrigation, right, it was a flyer. My broker was kind enough, my coach, my consultant was kind enough to say, take a flyer. I know this is number 4, you got these 3. I know this is number 6, you got these 5. And the stories resound through the halls at Conserva. Man, you guys were last on the list, and I didn't even want to listen to you after one call. Bing, and then you gain distance after that from number 1, even beyond that, to show us how exciting and how awesome this concept is. So that's what we always say. We're thankful for the opportunity. Give us a flyer, give us an opportunity to roll out the red carpet, show them the blue shirts and exactly what we do for saving water. 40 to 60%, by the way.
Guys,
You got it.
this is one place where the grass it might actually be greener.
Exactly.
Russ, thank you so much for being my special guest today and sharing with the viewers of Kim Daly TV a little bit about Conserva Irrigation.
Awesome. Kim, you're the best. Thank you again. I appreciate the opportunity. We'll chat soon.
You are the best. So for anybody out there who's interested in learning more about this opportunity, I'm going to encourage you to follow the email on the screen. That will lead you directly to Kim Daly so that I have the opportunity to meet you and pre-qualify you and make sure that the territory that you live in is open and viable for Conserva, and that you have all of your expectations in line and you know exactly what's going to happen. And then I'll get you back over to Conserva Irrigation team so that you can learn more about this specific opportunity. Thank you so much for listening to this interview today. Russ, thank you for being my special guest. And for those out there, please don't forget that my name is Kim Daly, and I want to be your daily coach.